So, you're gonna... is it me or is it not making the text bigger? Alright, so you got these two. This is a standard post request, nothing else has been added. Alright, just to register. Why? Because you need to log in first to register. Now, next up, once that's done, and you can obviously show to the user, hey, you've been registered, because that's necessary. Then comes the login. The login is same stuff, just raw JSON email password that you send to the server, and this is what you get back. And this is your token, right? So next up, what you can do is you could get the posts. However, this is only my post, right? This is my user ID. There's not gonna be anyone else's posts in there because the server has checked based on your token which post you can see and which ones you can't. Okay? So if I were to create a different user, make a post with this, I wouldn't see these. How would I? Yeah, no, okay. Basically, the way you add a post didn't change very much, except for this. You need to include this. If this is not included, then you basically get this error, right? Unauthorized. Okay? So, let's start. Why did they put such a short cable here? I feel like a very other site. I'm gonna close you up, don't need you anymore. Okay, so, the way we're gonna do this, we're gonna create a login, use effects. Well, off to a great start, I guess. Which ones are we gonna need? Oh. What?
Can you make it bigger?
No. Obviously I can. So, you don't need to follow this now, because otherwise you're likely to just look at your screen. Login components. Also try doing this as well. I add component because I need to differentiate between functions and components. If things export different functions and a few components, then it's necessary to know in advance which ones you're gonna get. We're gonna have nothing that comes in. Alright. Return for on submit. There's nothing new here. This is all very standard stuff. Let's just submit the default and submit form. Submit form will be over here. Submit form. Cool? Make sense? Alright. I'm gonna have a few use states. One of those will be email. This is very badly done. Alright. So I need to go over here, change it. And a password. Okay. Over here we're gonna say Axios, I think. Dot posts to this one. We're gonna add email, no, basically email password. Then okay, makes sense? Everybody following?
Axios?
Axios is another way of the fetch thing, right? It's basically the same, but it has some backup functions in there to make sure that stuff works. Obviously, add a catch, because we want to catch our errors. For now, let's just log them out. Cool. Then, what I can do to make my life easier and design, I'll go check out some inputs. Give me my email input component. Thank you very much. That's not it. Inputs. There is an email in here somewhere. Damn it. Username. Thank you. Oh no.
On the form, I think.
I'm gonna already take this one. Huh? What's with the whispering? Import inputs and D. Cool. Input passwords. Sometimes you can just guess how things will look. In this case, I'm guessing it's gonna look something like this. How is this formatted? HTML type submit. Alright. Obviously export default. Maybe we should check a bit what it looks like, but now we're going back here because I've made a mistake. As I said before, you don't want this over here. You want the stuff over here. Why do I want it over there? Someone tell me. Come on, make a guess. Well, no, the error component can go like overall. That doesn't matter. Why do I want this over here? Because I want to be able to say, if you go to login, you get me the login component. Alright? If you go to register, then you get the register component, which doesn't exist yet, so I'm gonna like comment this out for a second. But if I do this within the auth component, it's gonna not be able to load the login component because it's not gonna find it. Alright? I could also say here that let's go over here. Let's put it below it. Because then I can just use a catch-all and say whatever you're going to catch the login component. Or I just call it login. It's okay. For now, let's just do it like this. Is my thing even running? Yes, it is. Login. Cool. That's not what I needed, I think. Somebody point me in the right direction. What's going on?
Input.email, maybe someone like that?
I'm not sure. It should actually display something, so I'm not sure.
There is no D.
I think he's actually displaying something else. It's not this one. No. Yes. What went wrong? In our auth component, we basically said, yes, user is logged in, it's fine. In this case, we don't want that yet. So what I was trying to do is he looked at this, he thought, oh, this is a detail of a post, so let's give you the detail of a post, which didn't exist because there is no post called login. So that's when it went wrong. But this is also not really what we wanted, I'm guessing. No. Huh. I made a mistake somewhere in my app file as well. You are not very good with logins. What is it? String for building a class got undefined. Amazing. Which is weird because I actually exported it. Login components, etc. That doesn't really matter. This is weird. Types invalid.
In the outs component.
Don't think it's the out component.
You pass in the use effect function. You didn't pass array. You pass function. That one.
What? In the?
In the use effect, you pass a function, not an array.
That's okay.
It's okay.
That's not it. It's something in the login component in any way. Could have done it this way as well. But there's something in the login component that isn't right. And I'm not sure what it is. There's a mid form, prevent default mid form. It is returning something, obviously. But he's not getting it. What? Just put anything around it. But you are returned to the login component. How does this differ, buddy? Doesn't matter. But it shouldn't be that. It should be something else, and I'm not sure what. So the string building components, but it's not that. Ah, no. Export default. This is an unnamed import. I did something wrong. What is it? I need your eyes on this. It's really weird.
Are you sure that the input is in this way?
No,
Yes.
apparently it's that.
Yeah.
So let's figure out how it's called. Sometimes you get really weird errors.
In the forms, there's a ready-made.
Huh?
In the forms,
Yes?
there's login.
It's the login because I really want this to be an email, right? So we've got an email field. Let's look at the code. The code for this would be, instead of form item, it's just item. Are you kidding me? Alright, apparently this doesn't exist.
You need to define the input item. Inside the item, define the input.
No. Apparently it's not. This is really weird.
Let's use normal input.
No. Come on.
It's form item.
Form item. No. Yeah, I was copying the wrong stuff. Just get me a basic field then. I do not care anymore. Input placeholder. This is literally exactly what I'm asking from you. Input. Input. That's it. That's it.
The form should be in capital letters.
Only if I use the actual form of a... which is not entirely necessary here, but we'll see what gives. Error? No. No error. Alright, it looks really crappy, but we're gonna continue because, yeah, no. Okay, obviously, little unchange action there. See how this comes out. Okay, might as well. Then over here, email passwords. Alright, we already got something back. Alright, what's wrong? This thing.
Great, it's like
Are you kidding me? Ah, yes, alright. Submit. Obviously unauthorized because, yeah, no, it's not really a login. Normally, when we do this, I get my data back, and in that data we have our JWT token. Success! Error will possibly be done by this. Error. So that we can handle those in a decent way, which means that here if we call email, we're gonna have set error passed on as well. Cool. Now, you all need to register as well. But we're not gonna do that together because it's just another basic form, right? So you all have to include this, but that's fine. Over here, we have it. What are we gonna do? That token. So, we're gonna, let's use those document cookies. Hold on, just so it doesn't break. I am really thinking if this is still in here. Give me the front, give me the source, give me the reducers, helpers. Nope. Nope. So it's not gonna be in here. That sucks. There was a file that I often used, which did a really good job at keeping track of tokens. And it would just easily remove items, add items. But I forgot how easy this stuff is. Local storage. I'm quickly gonna set it up with local storage just as a way you guys can use cookies, but for now I'm gonna just local storage that stuff. Token set item, not token. Item token, and then we gotta get our e-data. Cool? Still following? Also a thing, in some companies they require you to do this to-do thing in advance, because then it's really easy to search your code for everything that you need to do. So when it's just comments, it might explain something, it might do something else. This is really handy. So in here I know that I'm just gonna pass on the data. I will have to do e.data to see if it actually exists. If it doesn't exist, there's no need to like pass it on, right? But then I will need to handle whatever's happening. Okay, so we have this. Cool. Why am I doing this? Come on.
Doing the locked in.
Yes.
Because when you're locked in, you want to do other stuff.
Because now I can say import redirect from React, no, just React Router, thank you. Which means that over here I can say if logged in is true, then we need to redirect to, in this case, just the main page. Otherwise, we're going to display the form. We set the item, which is good. So here in the auth component, instead of this, we can basically get item token. I don't know, it might just work like this. Else. Is everybody still following? I'm not doing some weird magic stuff. Alright, fun stuff. Why is this fun? Because we had this error before and we know where it is, so that's okay. But mainly, I'm gonna need someone to go over the steps that I've just taken. What was the first step? Obviously adding the logging component, right? What was the second step? Making sure that it displays something, like a logging component. Next step, you're gonna make sure that you get the values out of it. Or then you're going to handle your submit. Handling your submit does not only mean send it to the server, also means handle what comes back from the server. Server sends back some data, what are you going to do with it? Okay? We've handled that, sure. Then I'm going to actually, then I went on to handle the logged in state, which means that I knew, alright, it's logged in. So change the state so that you can redirect to somewhere else. And my auth components, when I redirected, my auth component was like re-rendered. Went to check again, but then it figured out, alright, we do have local storage items. There is something in here. So there's something in here, okay, we set logged in to true, display the routing that follows it. Okay? Does that make somewhat sense? You're a very silent class. No, eventually I went for the local storage because it's a bit easier to code. Because now you could see I was just saying set item and get item, and that's really easy. Well, otherwise I needed to start formatting stuff, and when I'm explaining that's a bit tough. What we're gonna have to do now, however, is in this list component, first of all it needs to go to the right IP address, obviously. Cool. It is not necessary. This is not gonna work. Why is this not gonna work? You see, those are the two advantages of the thing we did. I refreshed, but he still knows that I'm logged in because my local storage hasn't been cleaned. So it's still in there, the JWT tail. This is the advantage of using Antdesign. If you do this with your own components, it might be wonky, it might not work all the time, stuff like that. Okay? Now, what's our error here? Use effect papati papata unauthorized. Because here we're gonna need to say, this is also the reason why I'm using Axios, because it's a bit easier to just add certain information. In this case, authorization being bearer. I'm not sure why it should be in there, but nah, it always is. I'm gonna make this a bit more clean. And here we're gonna say local storage dot get item token. Cool? Cool. It's working. Alright? Everybody know why it's working now?
It's using the token.
Yes. Over here, before it sends the request, it first gonna add the right headers. And this is mostly how you're gonna transfer a token, right? It's always with the header authorization with bearer. I don't even know why it's in there. It's always a mess. But bearer should be in there and then your token. You could do this in a different way that might make it easier. Because I'm now doing this, I'm gonna need to do this on every page. Right? So what I could do is close this please, is adding a little helper. What do I mean with helper? For example, auth.js. Cool. Requests. Oh, damn it. That's not how this works. No, just URL callback. Cool. Alright. Over here I can say no, this is not how it works. Sorry. Callback. Just call this callback. What's a callback? It's a function that I'm gonna pass on to this component to make sure that he will do what he needs to do. What I can do now is I'm gonna copy this. I'm gonna execute this over here. Okay, sure. And then I'm gonna add the callback data, or I can also say callback and errors. All right. Why am I doing this? Because I don't want to always require the function to have this error. Yeah, this is like basically just defaulted if it's not used. So what we can do now is over here we can say execute request. Bam, it's gonna import it. It's fun. And know that I'm gonna go. Oh, damn it! I shouldn't have deleted it because I need this. Oh no, actually I don't, because now I can say. Oh, damn it! What am I doing? No. All right. Execute requests and to posts with a little callback data that will be set data. Maybe I'll just call it D. All right, I'm missing something. Mainly my body, but that's gonna be for later. Now in here, if I remove this, I can here just say, all right, add this to the URL, and now we have our callback and we've got everything. I'm also gonna add the body over here. Why? Because sometimes you're gonna have to pass a body on. This is messy. Get requests, because then we're starting with this, obviously. It's not just do any requests, it's actually we need to do a get requests, because otherwise that's not gonna fly, and a get request never has a body. Is it still working? No. Why not? There is not a function. It's weird, because I actually passed you on a function.
Didn't pass a button.
No, I know what's wrong. I did pass it, however I named it very stupidly the same as my variable that comes in. So it's overwriting this and trying to execute it. Callback. I'm also gonna rename this back to callback. Why? Because if there's a different developer looking at this, he might want to know why stuff is called a certain way or what it will do. Cool. Issue. 404 not found. Okay, makes sense. We forgot the dash. Shouldn't be there. Okay, still an issue. No data has been returned. Data. Okay. Why this? Because, well, this is our response and we only need the data. Do you know why we're doing this? Why this file is there? Why we make a helper out of this? Because right now, if I'm gonna have to change the URL, it's gonna be really easy. If every page just refers back to this helper file, which will execute all my requests, this is the only file I'll have to change. If there's gonna be like a little thing in between, or, and then obviously we've got this, we can set our token only once. And we don't need to do this on every page and every time and get to the local storage, get the token. It's still gonna do it, but we don't have to type it over and over again, right? This is one of these don't repeat yourself moments, okay?
Yeah.
Cool. So this is how like the most standard login handling would work, could work, all right? Would you be able to reproduce this? Do you feel like you could? No.
The whole thing.
Yes. Like you've got your homework, now create a login out of it.
I should do that at least one time.
You have. That's true, but
That's why
do you have the steps in your head?
Yeah,
The steps of creating this auth component that envelops everything that shouldn't be accessible without it. The fact that you need to, where you need to place your login, your register, stuff like that. How you handle that thing. Is that somewhat clear? So. Yeah, no.
Did you get the idea?
Yeah,
To practically do this is all understood.
that's true. How would you handle logging out?
Get rid of the token.
To get rid of the token. So I can say here in my menu, let's do something really bad. Say extra key logout. Nah, this is gonna be fun. So I can log out. Why is it displaying this? It thinks it's a valid URL. So in the app, we're gonna have to say, all right, extra stuff, log out. And obviously create a logout component for that. Why are we creating a logout component? This is basically just to make sure that all of your logout code is gonna be in the same time, because this isn't gonna display anything. No, this doesn't even exist yet. Going through all of this again. Export defaults logout. No, this one, not something else. Return. What we are gonna return is basically this redirect. Redirect to most likely login, because otherwise, what else are you gonna do on the site? So we need to import this redirect from cool, and then here use effects. Effect being indeed, as we said before, or somebody here said before, your local store's been set item. I think you can even do clear. Clear. Damn, everything gone. Doesn't matter. You can also just like clean up that specific one, but that's not necessary for now. Doesn't matter. Let's just. Can I just leave this out actually? It's not defined. It is defined. You just don't know where it is. Yeah. Cool. Ah, yes, of course. That's not really what we wanted, is it? So that one's working, but there's an issue with it. What's our issue? Obviously something is not working correctly. You guys are sometimes way too silent. Talk to me. It's still working. Oh boy. Nice actual return. Alright, that's my mistake. Anyway, so we've handled. Here we can actually change this. Or we can say execute get requests. What was it? First of all, this. Etc. Well, how did it look again? Error callback, error callback. Yeah, it should work. Oh no, it's fine. No, it's not. Alright. I don't know how many time we still have. Should we cool. should we go over how you can?
I think it's Stack Overflow.
Yeah. Let's break everything. It's okay. It's not necessary anyway. If I ask you, based on this video and based on everything you get, to make sure that the create post will actually send out a token and to update that stuff and to create a register, will you be able?
Yeah.
In 1 week, we should be able to.
You really should be able to.
Maybe
We can try.
it can be better to
Next.
send initial state, like maybe everybody use different methods to complete the last bit from. So if we have your initial state, we can build them.
Oh, without.
Share all.
I think no. The code that you all wrote, I think is quite fine. What I can do, for certainty, because this thing is still recording. I'm guessing. Yes, he is. I'll just do this. So now you can go through and you can pause on the right time to see what happens, and you can actually register, and then you have all the files. But I'm not gonna like give you everything because I want you, when you write something, I want you to think about why it's there or why you're writing it, and not just take it over and just copy that stuff. All right.
It's not working.
The server is working. I've created it. I've updated it. The reason why it might not be working if you just send random requests to it is because there's no token available. There's no authorization. You're not logged in. You're not registered. Stuff like that. So before you're going to be able to test anything, you're going to have to create a register page because you'll need to be registered.
How we can make sure that I can't log in if I'm not registered?
Can we just register using Postman? Like, just for get things started.
Yeah, can we?
Can we register using sending a Postman body?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, and that might be a very good idea to actually do this. So maybe everyone just go to Postman and send out a register request so that you're all registered. Why? Because if then you're creating your register page, if I try this one again, it's gonna complain because my email is already in the system. And that is the kind of error handling that you'll have to do and have to display to the user. Alright? So please all go to Postman and register yourself. Use a dummy password. Don't go for, this is not my real password, obviously. There's no limit on that part, just use any password because the server is not secured. If you're starting to use your actual password, I don't want to be responsible for that stuff.
Thank you, So, fake email.
Huh?
Fake email.
Doesn't matter. I don't even think it needs to resemble an email. There's no regex situations involved in the process. You can do that on the front-end side though. On the front-end side you should be able to just figure it out. The thing is also, the way this password has been sent, just plain text, yeah, it gets encrypted on the server twice. But you could also do this on the front-end side, and as long as you're always doing it on the front-end side, it's okay. Meaning, you can MD5, I don't know if you've heard of it. MD5 is like a little tool, it's almost in everything. You can use that to encrypt certain strings. So you can encrypt it on your end, send it over. It will just treat it like a random text string. And then the next time a user tries to log in, encrypt it again. Like whatever they input, encrypt it, and then send it through, which would be safer. If everybody's done with that, let me know. Is there any issues, errors, other stuff? What's he saying? Cannot get now. It's a question. The body being oh, this is interesting. How is he handling this? Not well. Apparently. Okay. This ought to be good. Where is the terminal? Yes. All right. These are all your errors. It's all you. Make sure it's a post request. Make sure that every field is in there. Hakan, well done. You registered. Yes. Yeah, date of birth being undefined. That's okay. Illegal argument undefined. Sure. Clumsy. Help each other so that we can continue. Because I'm gonna do one more thing with you so that you can do the rest at home.
Is it normal that it's loading too long?
No, so you should cancel it and see. Alright, first of all, over here I'm gonna need to actually enter the data. Because otherwise that's not gonna work. Make sure it's Jason that. And then you have the body being email. So back, first name, last name, email, password. Like this. Try to make it the exact same. Error cannot get because it's a post request. If you're already done, go help somebody else. Right? Go help some other people.
Can it be a dummy email?
Yes. Next step. The next step we're gonna do together. Like one last step. What we're gonna do is we're gonna also use local storage as like a basic state because sometimes that's just easier. In this case, we're going to use it as some sort of store because we're not going to go into Radix stores because, and I've thought about this a bit over lunch, I would go for Radix store because that's what we use where I work. It's not what's generally used. Some companies will use something else. Will use different functions, different store types, will use both reducers, sagas, states, actions, whatever, all separated. We've done this. It's a mess. Some companies will do this entirely different, and I can explain you how we do it, but that's not always going to relate to how it happens. The most important thing that you need to know is that it's basically a state for your entire application, which means that if your login component pushes to the store, hey, I'm logged in with these things, or this is what I got back, that your store says, all right, I'll save it. And anything subscribed to that thing in the store will be updated. Which means if you have a menu bar with a little icon of the user, that icon will be able to react to the fact that in some entirely different component, something has changed. Alright? So, for example, the logout is like
Logout will change the global state.
yeah, it's just a global state. There's nothing else to it. Sagas, if you ever need to know, sagas are it's a way of asynchronously doing calls. Like right here, we're doing it in line, which means our application will not change until something is loaded or an error is returned. We should display a loading state. In Sagas, it happens in the background. We basically just say, hey, you need to do this request. It'll do that request, and then it will update the store. Which means that your application, without having to do the request, will know, all right, it's been done, add it in, update it. The main advantage of Sagas is that you can have Sagas responding to actions. So that means if I, for example, log in, and I put in my password and stuff, send it to the server, comes back, it has been logged in, that immediately there can be a follow-up action that says, oh, by the way, go get all of the rest of the user information, because we just got back a JWT token, but we need everything. So you can chain some calls next to each other in order to make it easy. Yes? Asynchronously. Alright, now, as I said, we kind of want to have something for the user that it knows that it's logged in. I'm not sure why, but you know, we want in a menu bar to display the user information. We can do this in two ways. If I would have provided it, we could have done the system where with the same token that you just received, you send it back to the server and you say, give me the user information. And I will have responded with, here's the email, here's the first name, last name, stuff like that. That would have been easier, but we're not going to do that. What we could do is decode the JWT token that we got and actually display it. However, why would that be a bad idea? The JWT token has been encrypted with a password phrase. And I can show you this one, because it isn't that important that you do or do not know. This is the wrong application. Okay. Don't need this anymore anyway. Over here. Yes. This is like the secret string that is being used to encode the JWT token. It's getting really dark in here. Right. So it has been used for that. However, if we're gonna put this on our front end, it's gonna be there, unencrypted for everyone. Which means that if somebody wants to like misuse JWT tokens, you can just find in the code this string and use it. So if your JWT token has leaked and they have that as well, then they can just decode the JWT token and have all your information. Stuff you do not want. Right? So in this case, actually it would be better if I would add to the server a certain field that says update this, but I'm scared because I've already blocked the server down and I don't want to do that stuff again. Because that would mean as well that you guys need to re-register all the time. But we're gonna try anyway. You all have done some Express. Let's get this on the roads. Let's reuse this one. Let's call it user info. Users where UUID equals the same as user ID, papati papata, and send it back. Makes sense. Should I test this first? Of course I should. Am I going to? Not sure. No, because it seems to make sense. No. Let's not do that. Select. Damn it. Yep, that's how it's formatted. First name, we want the last name. What else do we want? The UID, can you imagine? Maybe the email. Alright? Cool. How would my git commit message look? Because you all will have to use this. How will it look?
Feed user.
Feed, sure. Feed. User. Adding user info callback. A request actually. And then we push it. Right, then over here. Mm. Let's see if the server survives. The server has survived. Fun stuff, which means that now in Postman, if only my laptop wasn't a mess, we can use that same token. Okay, to get user info, and we should, okay, that's not how it's written. Ah, no, it's a get. There we go. So now you have a request where you can get the user info. Alright? I think I have still enough time to explain this. Cool. What I want you all to do as homework are a few things. I'm gonna keep it running like that. We've got a back. First of all, you're gonna make sure that when a user is logged in, this call is made, which means a get call to dash user info, and that you're using this info to display the name of the user in the menu bar, right? That you know who is logged in. Okay, first name and last name. Okay. Secondly, you obviously need to bring it up to date, so make sure that you have a logout and you have a login, and obviously create a register page so that other people can register as well. Then what I also want you to do is any form of input that is done by the user needs to have error handling. I'm going to load your code and I'm going to try to break it. I'm going to try to get errors. Maybe I should add this in the Excel, like a little extra column, how many errors I was able to get. This means if a user leaves a field empty before clicking on submit, that should bring up issues. Or like a little message saying, fill this out, right? You can do this with a common component, right? It's just some sort of inline error component that handles a string and brings it back in like a little red span text box where you can plug it on different places. And it's just gonna check, all right, you clicked submit, but this is not okay yet. And instead of actually sending it to the server, you can then say, all right, put this error state on this component being that. I don't know how you handle it. I don't really care. There are some best practices online. Go look them up. Research. And make sure that, as I said, a user cannot, for example, on the login, fill in something that's not an email. Make it complain. Make it complain if a password is not long enough. Make it complain if something comes back from the server and is not right. Make it complain if they try to go to a page that doesn't exist. Standard 404 page. What I mean to say, or what this week's challenge actually is just basically make a website, make the journaling website so that you could actually give it to someone without issue, right? If you need to deliver something on a job, it's gonna need to have all those things. And it's important that you've done it at least once, because if you then get the question, how much time would it take to make this? You can answer more accurately. Because you know, all right, it has this input and that input. I mean, I need to handle this, I need to error handle this, I need to design components for this, for that, etc. Right? So really think about where all of this should happen. Is that okay? Does this make sense? Is there anything else I can explain to you guys now that we still have the time? Because this is also my final class. Next week, I'm on a little, it's not even a week, it's like a family weekend. I need to be, we're really clear on the fact that I needed to be there. Yeah, we're really, really going for it. I'll obviously be available on the Slack. You can message me for all kinds of stuff. I should just have given the class from a distance, from behind my PC. No, it's not fun. So anything that I can still explain to you guys? Any questions you still have?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a gift for you. Yeah, that's.
Not gonna strip out. Thanks. I've had a lot of fun teaching this class. Thank you for that. Good luck also on your final project
Thank you.
and on next week's challenge. Again, I'll still correct this homework on Wednesday and on Friday, Saturday, most likely. Saturday through Sunday.
And the next weekend?
Next weekend there's gonna be someone else. I think it's Evan who's gonna teach the class. But the thing is, I am, however, going to check because the weekend might not take as long as I think it will take. So if I'm back in Brussels early enough, I still might join. That's as a backup. I mean, I'm not sure if I'm gonna make that.
Is it possible? So next week will be the last week for React.
Yes.
So is it possible to extend it one more week because just to learn a bit more about Redux and hooks?
I'm not sure. That needs to be discussed with my team. Because you also have the planning for like the final project and when that needs to be done and you don't want to lose time on that. Mainly what you can do, I don't know what the final project is all about, but maybe there you can look really into books and into things. Because we cannot explain obviously everything to you. But I just hope that we've given you enough of a basis to start looking up and to understand what certain pages are talking about when they explain things, right? Maybe if you go look up and research it, post it in the Slack channel so that other people can enjoy it or look at it and continue doing it. But I think the main stuff is in there. You all are capable of making a website with React, or at least understanding one when it's given to you. You know what it's doing. You can error handle that stuff, or like figure out where something goes wrong. So, in a way, you're a React developer now. Enjoy. Right, I think that's it for today. Thank you. And have fun.
Thank you.
I'll try to